I don't exist. So they're all characters that I played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters. Jim Carrey was a less intentional character because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I'd do something a little different. I love Jim Carrey. I think he's amazing. He does talk some really powerful truths. There's so many clips out there that you can find from him. And as you remember the film, The Mask, we all wear a mask. I remember what if you've seen the film before, the doctor in it says, metaphorically speaking, we all wear a mask. We all put a different character on. This is where I'll play you another little bit of this Jim Carrey in a minute. But it's when we get to depression, I know it can be really, really hard and overwhelming for some people. When you get so flipping low, you just don't know how to get up. You've got no idea how to get out of it. What do I do? Where do I go? Am I still here? You kind of go into a total free fall. I went through a little period just before Christmas, and my life is lovely. I've got an amazing life. I've got great kids. I've got an amazing grandchildren. I've got a good life going on. And then something happened in December, and I kind of just stopped. I went into a bit of a depression, and I absolutely stopped. I stopped doing everything I was doing, and it was like I just went into a complete limbo. It's a complete limbo. But there's something else he says next, which is really powerful. And he says about depression, deep rest, depression. We need to sometimes just stop being the character that we are out there trying to be. Take the mask off, be yourself. I know we all have to wear this mask. When we walk into work, we have to be this different person. We wear a mask when we see our children. We wear a mask when we go to see our family. We've got a different mask for so many different people and so many different occasions. All right. And sometimes it comes to a point where you really, really do have to be still. Just still. Empty your mind. It's like we could compare ourselves to a computer, that when we take in too much information, our brain can get overloaded, like a computer system can get overloaded, and it burns out, it shuts down. It's the same thing with the brain. All right. It's the same thing with the brain, with depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff that comes along with it. But just take a quick listen to this little bit.
People talk about depression all the time. The difference between depression and sadness is just from happenstance, whatever happened or didn't happen for you, grief or whatever it is. Depression is your body saying, fuck you, I don't want to be this character anymore.
You see? And that is what it is, because, we put on this mask, we try and be someone different than we are. And sometimes it doesn't work out for us, and we keep going and keep going and keep going. And sometimes at the end of the day, we've got to just take the mask off and say, fuck it. I'm not going to be this character no more. And then you start changing your thoughts, your thinking. You start imagining what kind of character do you want to become? Who do you want to become? You're already out there. You're already there. Your character is already created. You just got to imagine it and then enjoy the journey into it. All right, let me just play the rest of this.
I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created. You should think of the word as depressed as deep rest. Deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play.
You see, it's a character we're trying to play. Stop trying. Just take the mask off and be. Let me play a bit more.
That I had to become a famous idea and get all the stuff that people dream about, accomplish a bunch of things that look like success in order to give up my attachment to those things.
See, we consume so much and we think that all the material things are going to make us happy and everything we have is going to people. It's character. It's a character. Okay.
It's been a part of the evolution of ego is spend your first half of your life acquiring and adding, thinking you can add to yourself. And it looks great. I mean, it looks great when you got a cool car and you got good, nice clothes and you've done something that people admire, but it can never fulfill you. You can never be happy. It's not where happiness comes from. No.
And it's not. You know, having all the material things in the world is not where happiness comes from. You know, your happiness comes from within, from with changing your thoughts, changing your beliefs, rewiring your system. You know, as I've said before in my other videos, I've come out of being a complete, proper, down and out alcoholic. And I'm now a successful hypnotherapist. I'm doing loads of training. I do loads and loads of research. You'd never believe what I was like before, you know, compared to what I am now. Yeah, I'm very, very proud of myself now. And anyone out there that's done it should be really proud as well, because that was just a character. It was just a different character. I will come back one day and speak about alcoholism, how it works, how it probably works within the energy field and why it happens. There's a really great guy out there called Hans Wilhelm, and he can explain some of this stuff to you, you know, but we're just wearing these costumes. We just need to let it go. We need to let it go and rewire ourselves, really. So let's see the rest of it.
I dealt with depression a few years ago. People still think, well, he's going through, you can tell. It's not, I have no depression in my life whatsoever. Literally no. Sadness, joy, elation, satisfaction, and gratitude beyond belief. But all of it is weather. And it just spins around the planet. It doesn't sit on me long enough to kill me.
You see, if we can see it in a different way, you know, if we can have happiness and joy and look at everything that's really positive in our life, things change.
Happy place is realizing that you're everything and that there's no real you involved in the first.
See, your happy place is realizing there's no you involved in the first place. You just are.
Place. I want to challenge your beliefs, throw it on its head in a way that you can accept and love, and it'll free you. I'm finding that people are, for the most part, accepting of letting go of character. I do believe in manifestation, but I don't believe that any of it matters. This mattering is a human construct. I believe in an energy of God. You know, everything is divine. There's no thing that isn't divine. Everything is divine, and I'm that. And
takes religion right out of it. Really, everyone's out there fighting over this, like all kinds of religions, and you know, and they all of them at the end of the day, they talk about the consciousness, all of them. Just when you find out.
It doesn't matter to me what's happening. Sometimes I still have the groove cut in me that, you know, wants my hair to look nice. There's still ego there, but I'm finding that ultimately the freedom from it is something people are kind of hungry for in a way. They're like, I don't want to be me either. And I go, well, great, because you never have been.
And that's another thing what you've just said about the ego. You know, we've all got this ego as well as part of our mask. And we need to drop the ego and become humble. You know, we really need to change our ways of thinking and become humble. And we can work this out. So I'm going to read you part 2 of my book, chapter 2, The Invisible Hypnotist. Every moment in your life, something has been speaking to your subconscious. Not a person, not a voice you can hear, not a force you were ever taught to recognize. Yet, it had shaped your beliefs, your emotional patterns, your expectations, your sense of identity, your reactions, and the reality you assumed was just the way things are. This force is suggestion, the silent hypnotist, woven into the fabric of everyday life. Most people imagine hypnosis as something dramatic, someone on stage, eyes closed, under another person's control. But real hypnosis is far more subtle. In fact, you have been in a hypnotic state for most of your life, and you didn't even know it. Not because you were weak, not because someone intentionally manipulated you, but because the human mind is designed to absorb influence automatically. The subconscious learns through repetition, emotion, environment, identity cues, authority, safety and threat, and patterns of familiarity. And the world provides these constantly. From the moment you were born, you are immersed into a stream of suggestions. This is how life works. People like us do this. You're too much. You're not good enough. Be quiet. Be good. Don't try that. You should be this kind of person. Some suggestions were spoken, others were implied. Others were absorbed emotionally, not through words, but through tone, expression, behaviour, or silence. Children do not interpret, they download. You downloaded the world around you automatically without filters, without analysis, and without any way to decide whether the information was true. Your subconscious simply accepted it all. This is why so much of adulthood feels like dealing with problems you never consciously chose. Not feeling good enough, even though you've achieved so much. Being afraid of failure, even though nothing is threatening you. Feeling unlovable, even though people care deeply for you. Holding beliefs that don't match who you want to be. Reacting emotionally in ways you don't understand. These are not your flaws. They are the echoes of early suggestions repeated in the background of your mind. Like a hypnotist script, you didn't realize you were receiving. But the most important truth is this. The hypnotist was never a person. The hypnotist was the environment itself. It was the culture you grew up in. The rules you were told were normal. The emotions you didn't have help regulating. The people you wanted approval from. The ideas the world repeated often enough for your subconscious to believe. None of these influences asked your permission. They didn't need to. Your subconscious accepts them because that is what it is designed to do. So now that you are aware of this invisible hypnosis, you are no longer under it. Awareness breaks the spell. Once you see the mechanics of influence, the old suggestions begin to lose their power. You realize that many of the thoughts you live with are not your voice. They are simply echoes, old programming, habits of perception. And if suggestion creates your reality, conscious suggestion can recreate it. So that was chapter 2. You can find my book now on Amazon. And you can find me also over at Lee Freeman Hypnotherapy on YouTube if you'd like to listen to any of my voice recordings. All right. So I will be back again soon and probably read out chapter 3, which is everyday trance states. Okay, because we go into trance every single day, you know, when we're not even thinking about it. And when we become aware, we can change things. Have an amazing day. Bye.